What is up, Pokemon Go family? It is your boy, TheGoulGuy, back at you guys yet again with another video. And today, basically what I told you guys from before, you guys see it on the thumbnail, we are going to be looking at Thievul in the Scroll Cup. Yes, we are looking at Thievul in the Scroll Cup while we have it for this week. Might as well have a little bit of fun. I know it is a very small meta cup anyway. Not that many Pokemon obviously in this meta, but essentially we are going to be using some newer Pokemon that I have not showcased on this channel yet. Essentially we have Toxapex, Chestnut, and as well as Thievul, of course, the theme of this video. But essentially this team comp worked very well, surprisingly. Well, I guess I shouldn't be really that surprised. Toxapex is pretty much top meta within this league, within this cup anyway, as it is a toxic, it is a poison water type that is super bulky. And then as well, Chestnut as a fighting grass type is basically doesn't take any super effect. Basically it negates electric moves, water moves, dark moves. It's pretty much a very anti-meta pick within this meta space, which is very nice. On top of the fact is I'm able to take out a lot of the ground types, and as well with superpower able to take out a lot of the dark types. And then last but not least, we have Thievul here, which essentially is a really good Pokemon to, pretty much work in any kind of space it really wants to, just because of the fact is it does have a fairy charge move, which is very nice to have a fairy type coverage move. And essentially Night Slash pretty much works neutrally around the board, of course, other than other dark types. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the, we're not going to get into the battles just yet, obviously. We're going to showcase the IVs and everything like that of each individual Pokemon that we're using here. I'm eventually going to get like a layout and everything like how every other PvP person, every PvP Pokemon gamer on YouTube actually has it, where you got the layout on the very side and everything like that. I just haven't figured it out yet. Haven't had the time to actually like really do the hardcore research in terms of how to really get that layout going. If you guys actually, in the comments, let me know what exactly I have to look into to actually get that layout. I would love to have it so I can actually display IVs and everything like that, and we can get straight into the battles. But since we don't have that yet, let me just go ahead and go into the IVs of everything right now. Alright, so first and foremost we have Toxapex. Toxapex is basically going to be in the lead here. This is our Great League Toxapex here. Pretty decent IVs as well, with the low attack, high HP, and high defense. With Poison Jab, Brine, and as well as Sludge Wave, pretty much the standard moveset for Toxapex for the most part, so nothing really crazy there. And then next we also have, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank here. Next we have the Chestnut. This is our Great League Chestnut here. Pretty decent also PvP IVs. Unfortunately, it only goes up to a 1472. I didn't really have that many Chestnuts to actually like level up and actually had like somewhat decent PvP IVs. This is the one we actually ended up using, with Vine Whip, Superpower, and as well as Frenzy Plant. I have seen some people also using Thunder Punch, which I can see that also being pretty viable, especially going against other flyers like Mantine and as well as Mandibuzz. But we are going to be using Superpower here, of course, against dark types, other dark type users. So that is why we're using that. Yeah, and then last but not least, we also have our Thievul. This is one I evolved from my previous video. Essentially, we got Snarl, Play Rough, and as well as Night Slash, and pretty good like PvP IVs as well, with the Thievul. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the battles. Let's get into it. But yes, this team actually worked out really well. This team actually worked out super well. If it wasn't for the fact that like I kind of had a little bit of misplays towards the end here, which you'll find out here shortly. But yeah, this team, I was very skeptical of having Toxapex in the front here, but as you can see, there was a couple of good leads here. But anyway, we got Toxapex versus the Azumarill. Of course, really good lead for me for sure. Then they switch into the Mandibuzz, and then this is where Thievul is going to come in play. Essentially, it's going to be able to take the aerial aces just fine. Definitely just fine here, and I believe they're using Snarl if I'm not mistaken, which basically that's not going to do anything for the most part to my Thievul here, and we are going to be able to get to the play rough. And since we are also using Snarl, essentially we get to the play rough pretty quickly, and as you can see, basically taking out majority of the health, well, half of the health of the Mandibuzz, which is also very nice. But essentially it's a really good dark anti, you know, essentially Mandibuzz, you know, anti-Mandibuzz cover. God, what am I saying? But it's really good against other dark types. Essentially, that's basically what I'm trying to say. Just because it's able to take dark type moves and as well able to dish it out with the play rough. Basically taking out both of the shields. Well, honestly, did I just use both? Did I take out both of the shields? I think I just took out one of the shields. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention all that much. But essentially taking out at least one of the shields, which is very nice, and also lowering the HP of the actual Mandibuzz, lowering the health of the Mandibuzz, which is very nice. Basically, we switch back into the Toxapex just to get to a Sludge Wave. We're just going to be taking out this Mandibuzz. Yeah, let's just take out this Mandibuzz here. Boom, we end up taking out the Mandibuzz, and then they switch into a ground type user, and yeah, they pretty much have two water types, well, a water type and a ground water type user in the back. So essentially Chestnut is basically just going to be able to take out majority of the Pokemon that he has left here, and they just decide to quit the game because I pretty much still have two shields that can basically, you know, if they use Ice Beam or if they use Play Rough on the Azumarill, I would definitely still be able to take them out, and we won that game. But yeah, essentially Thievul really good at essentially taking shields just because it just has that play rough option, and as well really good against dark types. That's mainly what I was just trying to say for the most part, but it is not the bulkiest Pokemon. Not the bulkiest Pokemon at all. So I can definitely see people switching out Thievul in the back for something, you know, way better, like a, you know, like a Sableye or a Guzzlord, something like that. I can definitely see myself running this team again just with like those better, more meta Pokemon, but we're using Thievul here today. And as I said, we switch into the freaking Thievul to catch a Psychic, which is very nice here. Because I noticed that obviously they're using Psycho Cut here. Psycho Cut obviously is not going to be it's basically Dark is going to negate Psycho Cut, which is very nice. Since it's not using counter, basically switch into the Thievul to catch the Psychic, which is very nice. I know it still has Dynamic Punch, that's why we use the shield, and we basically built up to double Night Slashes here. Probably should have used the Play Rough, but I thought they were going to shield. And I thought also Night Slash would do a little more damage, but I forgot it is part fighting. So definitely probably want to use the Play Rough here, which I do get to the Play Rough, which is very nice here. Psycho Cut, you get to the moves very fast on the Metachan. So actually good that with Snarl, I'm actually able to get to the charge moves really fast. They switch into a Masquerada, which is a Charm user Masquerada here. So basically we are going to be able to at least get to the Play Rough before they end up KOing us with the Charm, taking out a shield, which is very nice for us. Thievul taking out shields, man. That might actually be the title of this video. Because Thievul is just really good at taking out shields. I mean, regardless if it actually like flip switch or not, essentially it's a really good Pokemon to take out shields. They basically end up switching into the Lantern. The Lantern ends up taking a Sludge Wave, which essentially takes out half the health of the Lantern. We end up switching into the Chestnut. Chestnut's going to be able to take a Thunderbolt and as well as Surf, which is going to be fine with me. And pretty much what we're going to do, we're just going to farm down the Lantern. I have no problem farming down the Lantern. It's not going to do any kind of damage to me. They switch into the Masquerada. Now, I am curious what it's going to actually use. I believe both moves are pretty much, yeah, as I say, they're not going to do that much damage because I pretty much negate dark moves and as well grass moves, of course, as I am a grass type Pokemon. But we do have double superpower, and pretty much that is going to be their last shield. This superpower should be ending up KOing the Masquerada here. Boom, KOing the Masquerada and Chestnut, just showing how powerful it is. I want to say like Chestnut and Toxapex alone, like they're just really good core Pokemon in general, like really good Pokemon working together. As I said, Thievul, still a decent Pokemon in like, I want to say more like niche cups, more like this. That's kind of why I wanted to use it in this cup, just because, you know, just the fact that it is a pure dark type, essentially it has a lot of weaknesses to fighting as well as, you know, fairy, of course. But since there's not that many fairy types in this meta, essentially Thievul's going to like thrive a little better. That's pretty much the main thing here. But anyway, we got Mandibuzz versus the Toxapex here. Basically, I was trying to switch out the Thievul to catch a Dark Pulse, or no, Dark Pulse, Foul Play, but essentially, unfortunately, wasn't able to get there. So I'm just going to take it onto the Toxapex. It doesn't do that much damage. So once I noticed that it actually didn't do that much damage, I just stayed in here and just basically just going to yeah, I'm just going to Poison Jab down and then basically just use another Sludge Wave here, which should be fine. That way I can save shields, and if they switch, I'll at least get switch advantage. So let's see what ends up happening here. Can I get to another Sludge Wave? That is the question. I do end up getting to another Sludge Wave. Now the real question is, are they going to shield their Mandibuzz and then are they going to keep the Mandibuzz? Let's see. They do not. Okay, so they end up letting me take the Mandibuzz out, and then they switch into the Gastrodon. Now, I instant switch into the Thievul here because I don't want to switch automatically into my answer, of course, which would have been Chestnut. Now, I could have just went down and just matched up with the Chestnut, but I kind of wanted to keep health onto the Toxapex just in case I needed it in the end. So basically, we end up using a Play Rough. Play Rough ends up getting shielded. Now I could have just baited here, but at the same time with counter, like, you know, essentially, you know, obviously annihilate using counter here, it's going to take a lot of health out on our Thievul. So I might as well just use, since I'm not going to survive that long, might as well use the hardest hitting moves. And I do get double the shields off, which is very nice. So I do get both of the shields, which is awesome. They are basically going to hit us most likely, yeah, with the Rage Fist here. I probably could have just came in with the Toxapex and let the Toxapex take the move. But I still have double shields, which is nice, and they don't have any shields. So I should be able to just Frenzy Plant the Annihilate, and then basically I'm just going to essentially wall the Quagsire in the back. Because I am going to still be able to use a shield. Oh, actually, Quagsire, Gastrodon. I'm going to be able to basically wall the Gastrodon here because the Mud Slaps aren't going to do that much damage. They could, of course, Body Slam me because I still have the shield. And then since they don't have any shields, Frenzy Plant is just going to KO here, and we end up winning that game. But yeah, this, you're already seeing here how, like, it's just like the way it works, right? Toxapex being in the lead. If it's like a decent neutral lead, you stay in. Essentially, if it's a lead where, of course, you have an advantage because it's a charm user. Or fairy type, essentially, obviously you stay in, right? And then if it's not a good lead, you switch into Thievul, and Thievul has like good enough coverage to where typically it's able to take shields away. Thievul, taking away shields, man. I'm telling you, that's gonna be the title. But anyway, we got Toxapex versus a Mantine here. They switch into a Kingdra, and then basically we end up switching into Chestnut. Now, arguably, I probably could have used Thievul and maybe like possibly kept Chestnut in the back, but at the same time they do have the Mantine, so I didn't want the Chestnut against the Mantine. I'd rather have the Chestnut against this Kingdra here. So that's pretty much my head process in this. Definitely a good shield here because they use Outrage on me. Outrage definitely would have most likely KO'd me here. We are going to be able to get to another Frenzy Plant. Let's see if they end up blocking this one using their last shield or not. Not sure if they are or not. They don't. Okay, we end up taking out the Kingdra, and then they bring back in the Mantine. Now that's what I was afraid of. Thankfully, this is actually really good because we are able to actually have switch advantage. But I believe something in this game actually goes wrong if I'm not mistaken here. But we're gonna see what happens. We switch into the Mantine, or we switch into our Toxapex into the Mantine, which essentially with Air Slash it's not gonna do that much damage. Ice Beam definitely not gonna do that much damage at all. They're gonna basically try to do the aerial ace spam on me. So basically we're gonna throw a Sludge Wave. I'm just curious on what exactly they have in the back here. So basically Sludge Wave goes through, and then they switch into a Chestnut. And as we already know from me playing with our Chestnut, essentially it is just such a core breaker. As it is a fighting type, essentially it's going to be very bad. Oh, actually they have Thunder Punch. I don't know if they have superpower or not. So pretty much basically what I try to do, I farm up, which that's pretty much how I end up messing up here, because I end up farming up thinking I have an advantage. They end up using Frenzy Plant, which I don't know why. I thought I could just take a Frenzy Plant. Even if it didn't have superpower, it has freaking Frenzy Plant. So basically we end up using the we end up using a Play Rough. Unfortunately they end up farming us down. Basically we do have still our Toxapex here, but Frenzy Plant is still going to do a decent amount of damage. Well, and also too they have Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch is definitely going to do a whole lot of damage. They switch back into the Mantine, and unfortunately Air Slash is just going to take us out here. Definitely could have played this a lot better. I probably should have used the I overfarmed. For one, I overfarmed too much, because you can't get double Play Rough. So pretty much once I got to a good amount for the Play Rough, I probably should have just used the Play Rough, got the shield, and then I potentially, after he used Frenzy Plant, I potentially could have gotten to another, I probably could have gotten to another Play Rough, and then that way the Toxapex would have been healthy enough to where I would have been able to take out the Mantine. That's probably how I should have played that one, but unfortunately I just did not play it correctly. But it definitely would have been winnable there. Basically here, alright, so we got Toxapex versus the Lucario here. Now Lucario also has Thunder Punch here, so I do have to be wary of that. Definitely don't want to switch into our Thievul here. And in Frenzy, well, basically I don't believe I'm not sure if Chestnut would have much play up against the Lucario. I could be wrong. But I wasn't sure here. But anyway, regardless, there was apparently some lag within this game. My opponent lagged out or bugged out or something like that. And yeah, like pretty much, as you can see, I kind of waited just a little bit just to see if he'd come back, but unfortunately he did not. Ends up still KOing me here, which is fine. We basically switch into the Chestnut. Chestnut probably could have had some good play there, but that's actually good that we actually waited, because they had a Mandibuzz in the back. And they bring in the Quagsire. Now, with the so another thing, they also lagged again. So basically, I don't know if they actually got a bunch of moves in or not. I can't be sure. It looks like they lagged and got a couple moves in, but like their Pokemon isn't moving. So it was just very weird on this last one. But we are going to be able to get to the Night Slash. Basically, we're just Night Slashing the rest of the way down. If I use Play Rough, I probably could have just KO'd the Quagsire directly. But we are going to use a shield here because they do have the Mandibuzz in the back, and I definitely need... See, and this is where, okay, so this is where I was confused. Okay, so they have the charge move, which makes sense, right? They have the charge move, which is the Aqua Tail. I'm just going to farm the rest of the way down. Cool. I do end up farming the rest of the way down. And then they basically, I'm glad I'm actually looking back at this. Okay, so basically I use the Play Rough here onto the Mandibuzz. But I believe they still have a shield. Yeah, okay, so they probably still have two shields if I'm not mistaken. I think they still have two shields. I tried to get to another play rough. I should have known that wasn't going to happen. But what I should have done, I should have used the Night Slash and baited, maybe potentially getting a shield off from the Mandibuzz, and then possibly gotten to 2 superpowers. Not sure. I might have just been cooked either way, regardless. But yeah, Aerial Ace, double super effective against me because I am fighting and grass, and we end up losing that game. But we won 3 games out of 5 for a Pokemon that's essentially not like really super meta. That's not that bad at all. As I said, probably going to be a lot better if you had like a Guzzlord or even a Sableye in the back. Definitely going to run that with those Pokemon just to see if, you know, I might actually end up doing better with this team. I'm not sure, but Chestnut was super fun to use in this cup because, as I said, it basically walls a whole bunch of Pokemon, and as well really good against the ground types, and then of course Toxapex in the front. Some people don't really expect it. Typically Toxapex is in the back, so you catch a lot of charm or fairy type users in the front off guard, which is very nice, which basically gains you switch, and as I said, Thievul's pretty good in terms of like going up against other dark type users, just because you're able to obviously take a lot of dark type moves, and you have the play rough as coverage, but as I said, it just doesn't take that much damage, which is very unfortunate. So it's like it's a bit squishy, and of course it has the weakness of, you know, charm users, and as well, you know, of course, charm users, and as well as fighting types out there. So essentially those are the things to look out for. Of course, if you do plan on using Thievul, but definitely highly recommend probably using any other dark type, but still a fun Pokemon to use within the Scroll Cup while we have it anyway. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this Pokemon and this team down below. Definitely fun to run this team for sure, and comment down, also comment down below, you know, what if you guys are still playing the Scroll Cup, or if you're actually playing in the Master League. I've actually been trying to play some matches in the Master League, but it's been pretty difficult to actually get back into the grind of Master League, just because I don't really know the counts of a lot of Pokemon in the Master League. So like, you know, it's hard to really time moves and everything like that. I've been baited a lot. As you can see, my elo actually went down. I was at like 2250. I'm at like 21 something now. So like my elo actually went down actually trying to do a whole bunch of, you know, like matchups in the Master League. But I am gonna try to put out a Kyurem video at some point, showing off the Kyurem. Pretty much everybody has a Kyurem nowadays, so that's just gonna be super difficult because everybody pretty much has a setup for Kyurem, or if not, they have an anti-Kyurem team, which is it's crazy. But anyway, that is it. Definitely, if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave me a like and subscribe to the channel, as it helps the channel grow, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.